So I think we can slowly start the session. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Together Thursdays by Equity. In today's session, we focus on a topic that is becoming increasingly important as technology become a part of everyday life: digital literacy for senior citizens. I'm happy to introduce our speaker for today, Manasi. Manasi, if you can turn on your camera.
Hey, hi everyone.
So she brings over 20 years of experience in software development and currently works as an independent project management and PMO consultant. Alongside her professional work, she is actively involved in philanthropic initiatives. And in today's session, she will share the current state of digital literacy among senior citizens and what more can be done to build a safer and more inclusive digital ecosystem. Over to you, Manasi.
Thank you, Ritu. Okay, let me begin. I hope everyone can see my screen. Okay. So like um, what Ritu just said, that I have been working in software industry for many years, but today I'm not going to talk about any technology. It is a project which me and my friends initiated. So, thank you everyone for joining today. It is a working day and it is lunchtime, but I assure you it will be worth your time and you will take something good today. So, what I'm going to present today is they are the observations and actions taken by curious minds regarding the digital inclusion of senior citizens. Uh, Let me start. So, what we see on the screen is a comic take about the situation in every household where there are teenagers. So, the today's teenagers had access to digital tools right from their younger days, and they have lived with them. They have developed their own way of communication, their own language, and their own parents find it difficult to communicate with them. They get lost when they hear their own children talking to each other. So if such is the situation in the younger group, imagine how today's elders are, in what situation they are. So uh, the elders, like people of my parents age, or people who are above 60 or 70, they got access to these digital tools quite late in their life, and they didn't receive any formal training. Although these people have access to all the latest gadgets, latest technologies, they can't make effective use of those. So the picture that you see on the screen, this lady is very similar to a lady that we have in our neighborhood. I live in Pune, and in a neighborhood of middle class people, we have many senior citizens living in our locality. Pune being a favorite city of retired people, and now Pune is also an IT hub. It has many companies, uh, multinational companies here. So the crowd that is working here, most of the younger people are either out of Pune or out of India, but their parents have decided to stay back in their hometown and they are living independently. So they don't have direct access to the support system that they can receive from their family or anybody else in their circle. So they depend on the neighborhood. And this lady, which looks like Kamal Tai in our neighborhood, every day she gets stuck with her mobile phone, and she's then out on a scout for help. So the WhatsApp group that the younger people in our locality share, they start flashing a message every day when somebody sees Kamal Tai. They say that Kamal Tai is out on a scout. Expect her to ring your doorbell anytime, and you will have to spend at least half an hour today with her. So such is the situation with many the digital literacy and meaningful usage of those gadgets or applications. Why this is happening? Because the elder people, due to their age related problems which are related to their memory, their movements, their psychology, all these are the barriers for them to be able to make effective use of all the services which are actually easily useful available to them. So what is happening is they keep on hearing very scary news about the digital fraud, and they anyway they have some skepticism about the new technology, and they develop technophobia or tech anxiety. And the people who are actually supposed to train them, or the people who help them in their household, they are not versed with the teaching technology which is specially designed for older learners. So the way they are taught things, they are not easily able to grasp those, and they develop more and more dependency on the younger generation in their family or their society. And this is the problem where they lose autonomy. There is something called gray digital divide. So uh, this phenomena of being dependent on somebody is not very happy situation for them. They also feel embarrassed to reach out to other people for help again and again, and they prefer to revert back to their old way of living where they had to deal with physical assistance all the time. And what happens is they lose the easy access that they have to their rights as citizens, or the financial applications, banking applications, or the healthcare applications, which can actually be very helpful to them in their age. So they prefer to use the older ways, and that actually results in isolation. They feel get isolated from the world which is out there, which is busy with their own uh, gadgets, their own latest technologies. And the cyber criminals take advantage of this. Their social isolation is actually helping the fraudsters, and they work in uh, emotionally blackmailing them and using them in their fraudulent activities. Now, why this is happening is the amount of changes that are happening today. In recent past, when there were physical inventions, those inventions required massive amount of manufacturing and supply chains, which gave lot of time to the end users to adapt to the new paradigm. So here in the graphic, we can see that automobiles or the telephones actually took more than 50 years to develop a user base of 50 million users. But today's digital products don't have such limitations. Those can be made available to the end users within days. And for example, this game, Pokemon Go, it developed a user base of more than 50 million users within days. And if seniors are living in such situation, then it becomes very difficult for them to catch up with the new things that are getting introduced to them every day. So this is what explains so what is happening these days is the relevance of the skills that we develop loses is the relevance is lost within few years. So this concept is taken from physics. It is called skill half life. In historic days, whatever was taught to people, they could use that skill lifelong. But in today's day, whatever technological learnings we do, those that knowledge becomes it perishes within few years. So these days, whatever we are learning is going to go out of context within few years. So currently it is 2.5 to 5 years. Whatever we are learning today will be irrelevant. Within few days, that application itself gets replaced by some other application, or the same application releases another user interface, and the older people are still struggling. Now, today's middle-aged group, which is moderately tech-savvy and can handle mobile devices easily, when they reach the age bracket of seniors by 2040, they are going to get presented with uh, new technology, and that will create new challenges for them. And there will be a steeper learning curve for them. So, for example, if we see here, we can expect uh, ambient computing or brain computer interfaces, or maybe caregivers which are in robotic form. If people who will age tomorrow and by 2040 they are going to deal with this kind of surroundings, then they will also have similar challenge, and the need for digital literacy training is going to be permanent. So what is happening is nowadays, whenever there are new applications or new services are getting designed or deployed, people are giving a thought how to design them based on the principle of gerontology, that is edge tech. So any application which provides user interface or user experience which is designed to suit the needs of the elderly people, which has high contrast, bigger fonts, such applications are designed. In case of safety and security of the applications, inbuilt features related to fraud detection, or the physical fall detection, or automatic SOS call placing, all these features are included in that. In case of applications where health monitoring happens, there are remote patient monitoring facilities built in, then remote telemedicine or remote consultation is built in. So this is usually expected to be done whenever a new service is launched or designed. So all the regions, all the countries all over the world who have observed this problem and acknowledged this problem have started working on closing this gap by taking different actions. So some countries have already begun developing social support groups and creating programs where the young people from younger generation start working as one-on-one mentors for the seniors. Then there are some countries who have created policies or mandates for uh, inclusion of needs of seniors while designing the services themselves. So the seniors, they themselves are the stakeholders while the designing of the application is happening, and their feedback is given value, and their feedback is taken into consideration before actually launching the product for their use. Now, what is happening in India? So before we actually check the efforts related to digital literacy, let us understand the population. So according to the data available in 2020, 2022, the elderly people are about 10% of the total population, that is around 153 million. And out of those, around 6 million people are expected to use mobile phones. This number is going to grow, and we are at a situation where there will be population will be more than double and by 2050 we can expect a vast number of population, that is almost 20% of the total population, who will be in the bracket of senior citizen age group, actually use the online services or digital applications. So to be able to support this vast amount of population, our systems have to develop the capability for the future. So right now what is happening in India is there are few entities like government agencies or NGOs who are working on creating some training modules for these people. So HelpAge India is at the forefront. They have very good uh, training modules actually designed for the senior citizens, and they have also very good program called Gurukul, which creates pairing of university students with the senior citizens, which actually works very well because it actually works as a bridging tool between two different generations, and the elderly people get mentoring from younger people. So this similar efforts are happening. There are few programs run by government. There are other NGOs working in similar initiatives. Most of them are related to cybersecurity awareness, but very few are actually designed for teaching to the seniors. So what is happening right now, those efforts are not sufficient for the huge population that we have, that we need to educate. So whatever is happening these days, the small teaching sessions that are taken for senior citizens, they are very short term endeavors. So people who are taught are not given any post training support. Also data available for understanding the effectiveness of all those programs is not available. So to be able to understand how useful those training sessions are, whether it is making an actual difference in the way senior citizens live their life. Uh, so due to this lack of data and any absence of any monitoring system, how to improve, how to make the efforts effective, the decisions related to that are not easy to take. So what we as a team of digital seniority, uh, what we started doing is, first of all, the lady that I talked about in the beginning, Kamal Tai, she was the inspiration for me. I started talking to my friends, and they also started sharing their stories where they were helping and educating the seniors in their family, their society. So we understood that this is uh, a widespread problem, and some organized efforts should be taken for this. So we have so far held numerous informal sessions for people whom we know, but we decided to form a group of volunteers, and we reached out to bigger groups of senior citizens, and we informed them that we will be available for any formal sessions for bigger groups. So we started conducting training sessions, physical training sessions, offline training sessions, and we have done it so far 3 times for a group of 20 to 30 people. Uh, what we learned during these sessions is that most of the seniors are now made aware of the cyber security aspect. So when we started talking to them, their first question was, how can we trust a person who is going to come and train us? So they want people who are well known to the community, who are trustworthy. So before we actually conducted the training session, we had to build a good rapport with them. We had to connect with them for any other activities happening in their community. And then we introduced our training sessions. So what we had to assure them that we are a non-profit making group. We are not connected to any political of how to protect their own personal sensitive data. And we started conducting these sessions in a form of a question and answer method. So they don't want to follow training sessions. uh, is there anything, am I still audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay. Okay, so they don't prefer to follow any syllabus. They are not interested in technical jargons. They want quick solutions to their problems, and uh, they want post training support also. So we have started working on similar model, and we intend to create a network of trainers in the city, so that such sessions can be held in different localities. So what we intend to do further, this is what we thought when we did some brainstorming, that what we can do in future is create a cyber safety coalition group where different agencies will be involved, from government side, from NGO side, and we can create a support group in case the seniors need help in case of any fraudulent incidents, cyber security incidents. Then another thing that we can do is to replicate the program Gurukul, which is initiated by HelpAge, where um, pairing of students is done with the senior citizens, and the students work as their mentors. Uh, and we can talk to various technical institutes or universities about this to take this further. Another thing we can do is to work with different agencies, authorities who can create mandates for people who are uh, developing different services and applications which are ultimately going to be used by the seniors. So making those services easy to access for senior citizens with gerontological principles, mandates can be created for such things. So when I started talking about this whole endeavor, in the beginning, the elderly person is always out on a scout every day asking for help. So let us reverse the situation, and let us, all of us, be out on a scout, all the younger people. Let us find ways of getting involved in the cause. You can do it by either getting involved in the development of the services at design stage, where the gerontological principles can be included. Then you can start conducting formal informal training sessions for the seniors known to you. Then a cybersecurity support group can be created within your circle, because today uh, we are very comfortable with the knowledge that we have and we don't feel threatened. But tomorrow, as a senior citizen, you yourself will have to deal with advanced technologies, superior gadgets. And as we all know, whenever a new technology is introduced, the fraudsters exploit it before it actually is put into use for the good cause. So we can expect vicious cyber threats in future as and when the new technology gets introduced. So digital literacy training is going to be a constant need. So let us start building the ecosystem now. I thank everyone who has joined today, and uh, I would like to mention that all the references taken for this presentation were taken with the help of Gemini Pro, and all the graphics were also developed using Gemini Pro. A fun activity for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'll wait.
Uh, Thank you, Manasi. Hello. Thank you, Manasi, for such a thoughtful and insightful session. The work you are doing with digital seniority and the perspectives you shared today really highlights how important it is to make technology inclusive and accessible for everyone. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for being part of this session. We are hoping you're taking back a few ideas and reflections from this conversation. Also, is there any questions? So we
Not a question, Ritu, but I'm very glad that I joined this session. When I saw that digital seniority, the thought came in my mind is there will be senior folks from technology who will be talking about how the world is being digital with the things that are being discussed, like AI and all those things. But this is completely different. And I really like this concept. And yeah, I would like to see more about it. Thank you.
thank you, Sushma.
Thank you.
We have a question in the chat. What are the most common digital challenges senior citizens face today?
So, people who have challenges with their age related to their eyesight and their movements find it difficult to handle touch screen mobiles, so they prefer to have mobiles with hard buttons. So this is very common thing that I have observed. But otherwise, when people you are using smartphones, they use it only to use WhatsApp. So for them, mobile phone is equivalent to WhatsApp. So they find it challenging to use anything else other than WhatsApp on mobile phone. And they run out of memory all the time. So they are not able to understand how to keep their phone useful by doing the regular maintenance of that phone. And otherwise they feel very threatened. So because of the news spreading around all the time regarding the cyber frauds, they feel better to stay away from any digital tool. So this is a main thing that I have observed. They are very scared to actually start using anything unless they are sure about it, or unless they are assisted by this junior people.
Okay. So another question is, what kind of online risks are seniors most vulnerable to?
Okay. So most of the times, their vulnerability is exploited when they are asked questions about their personal information, and they are threatened by urgency that if you don't do your KYC immediately, you will lose access to all your money. So this is most threatening thing. So rather than using the technical tools, they believe in the urgent call that they receive from the fraudsters. So people are hardly using any banking applications or payment applications. They believe the things that they hear on phone calls and what they circulate on WhatsApp. So this is the most dangerous thing that I have seen so far.
Okay. So one Shilpa is having a question, I think.
Hi, Manasi.
Hi.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I think this is a very current topic. Just yesterday, I was telling my mom, that this kind of a fraud is going on, the arrest things, please make sure you're not answering any calls and all that, right? So this is very current and very well identified current problem. So kudos to you and the measures that you're taking as well.
Thank you.
If I may also ask you, are you thinking about creating something like just drawing parallels, Duolingo, or these investment literacy kind of apps, which are very easy to consume that we're using today, which will keep them,
Yeah, that
abreast with
sounds
what's
like a
happening?
good idea. Only thing that I can add here is currently the generation that is in the bracket of senior citizens, they have come from a background where they never used digital tools before. So these kind of applications, they have kind of phobia for any new things. So people who are right now in the middle age people who are going to get into bracket of senior citizens in near future, I am sure people from our generation will definitely find these kind of applications very useful. So first, anybody who is going to use mobile applications has to develop comfort with the digital gadget, and then we can expect them to use the applications effectively. So yes, your idea is quite useful, and it can be used for the next generation who is going to be a senior citizen very soon.
Yeah, agree to that thought as well. Yes, it has to include our generation as well. So it's not just left up to the senior citizens. It should be through their children or through that could also be a way that we influence what they're using. Because today, yes, many senior citizens I know that they keep on scrolling on the Facebooks as well. So WhatsApp and Facebook could be the tools that they're using. So yeah, probably lots to do, I know,
Yeah,
Manasi, but
yeah.
it's a great start that you have. So again, kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you everyone. Is there any more questions? I think that's it. Thank you once again, Manasi. Also, to the participants, stay tuned for our upcoming Together Thursday sessions. We have more conversations like this lined up, and I have put a registration link in the chat. And if you're interested, please do register to be part of the mailing list. And thank you once again, everyone, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.